Hello, everyone.
Hello,
It's Emily.
and Emily.
Welcome back, or welcome to the Are We Nerds podcast. This is episode four?
Four.
Episode
Yes.
four. Before we get
Yes.
started, I just want to say, because we say this at the end, but I feel like, I don't know, I click out of podcasts once they're done, so people probably also do that, and I don't blame you because I do the same thing, but like, follow us on TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our Discord.
Join the community. We're always happy to have more members, more followers, more subscribers. We really appreciate everyone. Slowly growing. We're loving it. I love everyone in the Discord. So thank you guys for joining. And everyone that has followed and liked our videos on TikTok, greatly appreciate because I think we're funny.
Okay, yeah, I know people like I know our friends make fun of me, especially when I'm like I'm so funny, but like I genuinely think I'm a funny person, and I know that people say that unfunny people say that, but I don't care because I'm hilarious.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends. Sometimes I'm funny when I don't try to be funny. It's just I have
hmm
a really dumb moment, and
I
it's
think our anime content is funny.
I agree.
Like real life stuff. The only time I'm funny is when I'm doing something dumb or like literally just whatever's on the top of my head comes out and then people think it's funny, but I'm like, what? But I guess that's just like with like, my ADHD being all unfiltered and everything. But it's better now. Now I'm kind of boring because I'm medicated.
Yeah, honestly, my sparkle has dwindled ever since I went
Dwindled.
on medication. But anyway, let us start today with some anime news. I will go ahead. I'll do the first one. So, One Piece Film Red has a new key visual that has the Straw Hats looking rad as fuck. Okay,
Robin? Oh my God.
it looks so cool with the purple hair. Um,
Okay, Sanji's outfit. He kind of looked goofy. I got him and Usopp look really goofy. But you know what? I think either way, the movie's gonna be really fun. Other news. Doctor Stone, New World, Season 3 is scheduled for spring 2023, and the special episode is airing now on Crunchyroll.
Next piece of news. I am so excited. Sasaki to Miyano movie announced for 2023 in Japan. I love this series. I'm caught up with the manga and everything. I'm a big fan. Okay, if you have not gotten into BL romances, let me tell you,
Don't knock it till you try it,
I
okay?
have no shame. It is so good. Sasaki and Miyano, it's so cute and so precious, and I
That's
love it.
very
So
cute.
I'm really excited for a movie. So hopefully we get that in the US as well. But it has been announced for 2023 in Japan, which is really exciting.
Yeah, Sama Love is War movie. First kiss never ends. Announced. I did it.
Great.
Pat on the back. Wow.
And
But
then
I haven't watched the season. It's on my list. I have a lot of things on my list. I know our friend, well, a couple of people I know are watching it or reading it and they really like it. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Looks good. Looks
I,
cute.
I haven't gotten to it yet, but a lot of people love it. But in other news, The Duke of Death and His Maid season 2 was announced for 2023. I also have, but if I see people excited for things, that makes me excited. So put this on the news because a lot of people seem to be excited.
But even with us like announcing stuff that we haven't watched, I know that people have messaged me and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is coming out," like because we had said in our podcast. So that makes me feel good about that. But Mob Psycho, oh my God. Um, so the first two episodes will premiere at Crunchyroll Expo, and mm, I don't know what it is about them doing this now, but that is so not fair because I want to watch the first two episodes or the first episode stuff like Blue Lock, um, now Mob. Oh my God, what the heck? But you know what? People that are going, good for y'all. Just know I'm really jealous. Really, 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 really jealous. But good for y'all.
I am I, but good for you.
I'm happy for you.
Well, this is the next piece of news is good news for everyone. Vinland Saga is now streaming on Crunchyroll, Netflix, and High Dive. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I have honestly never heard about
Me
that streaming
neither.
platform.
today's content of the episode, which is going to be manga recommendations based on your zodiac signs. Just want everyone to know that my drunken self after the Atlanta United game came up with this idea in the shower.
Yeah, just okay, for context, okay. We had discussed before that we were going to do a manga episode because we've just been doing anime. So let's talk about it. But then we went to the Atlanta United game. They lost really, really bad. So we drank. We're legal. We can drink. Okay.
We're 22
legally.
years old, okay? We're 22.
So yes. And we had a good time. There's nothing like being from Atlanta and riding Marta intoxicated. Not the safest thing to do, but it was a very Atlanta experience.
Yes.
And I'm glad to have been around people that can take care. Listen, when we say intoxicated, we weren't like crazy, right? We were just happy.
I was happy. I was having a great time.
So let's get into it. I'm excited.
Let's get into it. So starting with Aries. So if you don't know the months and everything, so for Aries, the time is March 21st to April 19th. So the qualities that Aries typically have are they do what they want, they're unafraid of conflict, highly competitive, and driven by the desire to prove themselves. Typically. Again, these are just some traits that each zodiac has. So the genre that we recommend for Aries is action.
I think they're for Aries, I think they're very like driven by what they want to do and what they believe in. So like if they think that this is the right thing to do or whatever, they're going to go forward with that, which leads us to the examples for action adventure that I think would fit for Aries, which is One Piece. I know we're always talking about One Piece, but literally Luffy is the type of character that like does what he wants, and he's not afraid of conflict. He goes out of his way to create conflict, but in a way that he helps people at the end. Even though he doesn't want to be a hero, he's still helping people out. So we also suggested Naruto. The reason why we did, just because it's also kind of similar to One Piece, as in, you know, shonen. You got this kid that wants to be the Hokage. There's lots of great action. There's you know, people are highly competitive. They're driven by a desire to prove themselves. Literally Naruto in a sense, if we think about it, because, you know, he's hated by the village. He wants to prove that he's worthy of what he is. And yeah, I mean, great action, great adventure. You know, kid doing what he wants to do. And then also same for My Hero, which Emily probably got. Once again, a kid that wants to prove himself. He's on an adventure. There's lots of action in it. You got people, great character development. Deku does what he wants, but not in like a what's the word?
Like the first word that comes to my head is a condescending way. Which I don't know if that's the best description, but like he does what he wants, but he's also very aware of the people around him.
He's very aware of what his actions could lead to.
Yes.
He's aware of what consequences his actions could lead to. So I think that's what makes it a little bit different to One Piece and Naruto. Like obviously Luffy and Naruto themselves, they understand most of the time what their actions could lead to, but I don't think they're as anxious about it as Deku is. I think Deku's a little more like level-headed when it comes to them as main characters. But for a webtoon recommendation, you can start getting this physical copies. Is Solo Leveling. So good. Okay. I'm telling you this. Let me read the description. Okay. So this dude is known as the weakest hunter of all mankind. He is an E-rank hunter. Jinwo Sung's contribution to raids amounts to trying not to get killed. So he's literally kind of just heavyweight on these missions. He's just trying not to die. He's just trying to make money, okay? But unfortunately, between his mother's hospital bills and his sister's tuition and his own lack of job prospects, he has no choice but to continue to put his life on the line. So when an opportunity arises for a bigger payout, he takes it, only to come face to face with a being whose power outranks anything he's ever seen. So he's in a sticky situation. With the party leader missing an arm and the only healer a quivering mess, can Jinwoo somehow find a way out? Taurus, which is April 20th through May 20th.
Is my moon
What
sign.
did you have to add?
It's my moon sign.
So we said qualities for a Taurus was they embody stability, normal satisfaction with how things are, and a rock of dependability. They're patient and steady. So obviously, we thought this had led to slice of life and shoujo.
Mm-hmm.
So examples would be Komi Can't Communicate, Fruits Basket, and Horimiya. And then for a webtoon, I'll note that the webtoons except, like all the webtoons I'm suggesting except Solo Leveling is on the webtoon app. And they're all free chapters. So not like any ones you have to pay with coins or the free daily pass. These are all ones you can just go ahead and binge read, which I try to keep it that way. So, but Komi Can't Communicate, Fruits Basket, Horimiya, and After School Lessons for Unripe Apples. Telling you, out of all these ones I'm suggesting, or that we're suggesting, you need to read this webtoon, okay? After School Lessons for Unripe Apples. It's funny. It's very like life, like slice of life, but also has a more storyline to it than a slice of life. And there's romance. It's kind of like a girl. She's very out there. She's kind of weird. She's short. No offense. But, you know, she's just living her life the way that she wants to live it. And she's not afraid to be who she is. And she's also trying to become friends with the main dude, which is, I cannot recommend this more. I wish more people talked about it. So, but you know more about Komi Can't Communicate and Fruits Basket.
So for Komi Can't Communicate, if you've never heard of Komi Can't Communicate, it's actually a very long manga. I think it's at chapter 300, and it's not super long, but it is quite long. But if you have Komi Can't Communicate is basically about this girl named Komi, and she suffers with extreme social anxiety. So she has a really hard time communicating with people, and her goal is to make 100 friends. And so basically the story, it's a slice of life, and it follows Komi's adventure to make 100 friends. It isn't based off of romance. I think a lot of people have that misunderstanding with Komi Can't Communicate. The base of it is not a romance. The base of it is a slice of life manga that is following Komi, who has extreme social anxiety, but there is some romance in it. It's really cute. I really love it. I'm caught up with the manga. The manga updates pretty regularly, which is really nice. So yeah, Komi Can't Communicate is great. I highly recommend. And I'm a Taurus moon, so if that has anything to do with that, I could not recommend it enough. And there is an anime if you want to watch it as well. For Fruits Basket, y'all know I have a Fruits Basket poster right there. I love Fruits Basket. It's in my top 10. If you've never heard of it though, which if you listen to this podcast, you've heard of it every single episode.
That's true.
But Fruits Basket is basically about this family. There's the 12 Zodiacs and God, and the 12 Zodiacs follow God. And this is basically manifested into a family. And if they like hug if the person who's a Zodiac animal hugs the person of the opposite sex, they immediately turn into that animal. So it's a curse. And the main character, Toru, has a lot of trauma, but she's like the most positive person ever and is always smiling and always trying to be super helpful. And her goal is basically to break this curse. And it's essentially a shoujo romance with supernatural factors in it. Really enjoy it. One of my favorites. That's Fruits Basket. Highly recommend.
And the last one from this would be Horimiya. This is also an anime, but manga first. Kind of slice of life too, in a sense of where you're getting a lot of life lessons through each character, but the two main characters, I'm literally blanking on their name, but you know, it's about their relationship and how they deal with their own personal stuff that they might not like about themselves at the moment, but it's kind of both of them helping each other out. What do we have next?
We have Gemini. So that is May 21st to June 20th. So qualities for Gemini that we normally pick up is they're very intelligent and pick up on knowledge quickly, often very perceptive, analytical. They're often very funny, and they have an unreserved and childlike curiosity, and they're always asking new questions. So for this, we thought the genre that would fit really well with Gemini is science fiction. I think especially with the whole childlike curiosity and asking new questions, I think science fiction just naturally bonds these questions or spawns these questions. So I think science fiction is a really good genre for them. So for our suggestions, we have Dead Man Wonderland, Dr. Stone, Kaiju number 8, and then how do you say that webtoon?
I think it's Ella Seed.
Ella Seed. So I'll talk about Kaiju
Mhm.
number 8 because that's the one I'm most familiar with. So Kaiju number 8, we've talked about it before. It's basically it's a shonen, but it's a 32-year-old male,
Oh yeah,
which is awesome. She has, we have the cover, don't we? Yeah.
Kaiju.
Kaiju number 8. Basically, it's the English title is Monster number 8. So as you can imagine, it has to deal with monsters. There's monsters in Japan, and there's this team that basically gets rid of these monsters and fights the monsters. And the main character, he's a part of the cleanup crew, but his whole goal in life was to become part of the people who like get rid of the monsters.
The Japan Defense Force.
The
Yeah.
Japan Defense Force. And he basically one day while they're cleaning, he turns into a monster. He swallows the monster and he becomes
I'm like reading the back, and the question that goes like along with this really well goes, how can he fight kaiju now that he's become one himself? Dead Man Wonderland. I have not read the manga. I had watched the anime, but basically this kid and his classmates, they're getting ready to go on a field trip to this prison, mind you. They're going on a field trip to a prison. That's like a prison theme park thing. It's an actual prison. There's also a theme park that people can visit. I don't even know. It's kind of crazy. But something happens to his class, and the main dude, is like arrested and prosecuted, and is thrown into this prison, which is called Dead Man Wonderland. And he has crazy, really good. And then Dr. Stone, I guess, is more like in the middle of gory to, enjoyable. Dr. Stone is also enjoyable, but this is more sciencey. The whole world gets turned to stone, and this really smart kid and they're alive while they're in the stone stuff, but he keeps himself like conscious for like hundreds of years, and then somehow he gets unstoned, and he is trying to help people out. So basically, civilization kind of has to start over. And then Ella Seed is on Webtoon. So this kid, I don't even know how to go forward with this, but so the kid, right? He's actually really cute. He's so nice. That's why I think you would like him, because he's like a character where he's really nice, like a Tanjiro Deku situation.
I
But
really like really nice characters.
it really says that he's a kind-hearted young man who harnesses the lightning quick reflexes of a cat to secretly make the world a better place. So, Caden, this is also another character in there, is a secret agent. And he's not part of an organization of these other people in the world that have powers, but he's kind of like a rogue person. He becomes the kid's mentor, but he can also turn into a cat, and no one knows that he's a cat. It's so funny, but it's also just like really good. I don't want to go more into detail, but it's just like this kid and Caden, his mentor. It's like them learning how to be people, like Caden himself, like be a good mentor, but also this kid is like growing in his power, and he's trying to help people. It's really cute. Next we have Cancer. My sister's a Cancer, so that's why I said that. But anyone else, I guess they're cool. But June 21st to July 22nd. So qualities, they're so emotional. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. Constantly moving in and out of focus, and they can feel everything. So the genre that we had suggested was romance and drama, because
obviously
that's them. Obviously, Cancer. So examples: Blue Spring Ride, Daytime Shooting Star, A Silent Voice. And then for the webtoon, we have Eternal, Nocturnal. But what do we have to say about Blue Spring Ride? I wouldn't say it's your typical shoujo like romance one. Kind of is, but not really. It's a little bit more dramatic. So this girl was friends with this guy in middle school, and then somehow um, they liked each other, but then somehow he had moved away. But he comes back, they meet in high school, and he's like very cold to her, but he's also just very cold in general. And so it's like her trying to become friends and she kind of starts liking him again. But a lot of stuff happens between like, past people coming up and then him dealing with his own trauma and then her trying to understand. I think his name's Kai. Yeah. Trying to understand why he's acting that way and then trying to help him, but he's just a whole cold shoulder thing. So it's kind of like back and forth between them. And then other people pop in. So then you got like a love triangle. It's crazy. There's an anime if you want to watch that. Um, and then what did we have to say about Daytime Shooting Star? I think you had the first volume, right?
Daytime Shooting
Oh my
Star is
God.
actually the first manga I ever collected. I have all of the volumes of Daytime Shooting Star. I absolutely love this series. So it is a shoujo, but it's romance. But basically, this girl, the main character right here, she comes from the countryside and she moves to Tokyo to live with her uncle. She collapses one day and sees like a handsome stranger, brings her to her new home, and then she starts school and she sits next to this guy who literally blushes at like just seeing her. Like he's so like awkward with women. He just doesn't know how to act with around them. And basically what happened is her teacher is the handsome stranger that brought her to the house. So it's this like whole love triangle with like the teacher and the main girl and the guy. And it's so good. It ended how I wanted it to, so that's why I love this series. Highly recommend the series, especially for Cancers. There's a good amount of drama in this. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's like Fruits Basket drama. It's definitely a more tamed drama, but there is drama in it. And there's a good amount of romance. Daytime Shooting Star, highly recommend. And then I'll go for A Silent Voice too, because I have the physical volumes
Go
of A
for
Silent
it.
Voice. I love A
I'm gonna
Silent
fix my
Voice.
hair.
Cancers 100% would love this. This is super emotional story. If you've never heard of A Silent Voice, there is a film adaptation to it. It's fantastic. It's on Netflix. Highly recommend you watch it. It's actually the first anime movie I ever watched, so this also has a very special place in my heart. But A Silent Voice is basically, the main character is a bully, and he bullies the main girl when they're younger, but the main girl is deaf. And so then they grow up and he kind of like, he starts getting bullied, so he kind of repents his ways and he's basically very depressed. But before he does anything, he wants to make it up to the girl. He basically wants to repent to her. And that's what the whole story is based off of. So it's a fantastic, fantastic manga. It's very emotional, a lot of drama.
Yeah, I would say trigger warning for people is that it does, there is a suicide, well, not a suicide, but there's like mentions of suicide and stuff like that.
There is
So,
a suicidal attempt, I will say. So that's a massive
yes.
trigger
So,
warning.
if that is something that triggers you or just something you're very emotional about, I would keep that in mind. But Silent Voice is a very beautiful story that shows does really well with showing how relationships, not just like, romantic relationships, but just like relationships with people and how mean people can be, but also how people can repent for their ways and like become a better person. So there's all different types of people like in that story.
Yes.
So you got like your really nice ones to, you got your mediocre people to the bullies to like all the type of people. So I I think people should, if out of all of those, I would say A Silent Voice first, just because I think it's a really good anime, movie, and manga that people should get into first if they want to add something. But for the webtoon, Eternal Nocturnal. So it's like play on word for eternal, but it's EAT, like you're eating something. Eternal Nocturnal. So this girl, the main girl, she suffers from insomnia. And so the whole summary from Webtoon says, the man of her dreams does exist. Too bad she can't fall asleep. So, when Eve is visited one night by a mysterious apparition, she finds that her chronic insomnia is miraculously cured. So, meanwhile, Day, the Dream Eater, which is the apparition dude, finds himself unexpectedly and unwillingly drawn to Eve. This can either be a dream come true or their worst nightmare. So, he's a dude that can enter people's dreams. So he's a dream eater. She suffers from insomnia. She has situations going on in her life where she's I wouldn't say she's a disappointment to her parents, but her parents are not happy with like the way that her life is going. She's kind of going in and out between jobs. She can't really find a place to settle down. She has a friend that's like really famous and enters this whole contract thing where she's like hidden, which leads us to Leo.
Leo is July 23rd to August 22nd. So qualities for Leo is they inject ambition into everything they do, have an appetite for growth. They are satisfied by the praise of others, and when they're hurting, it shows. So for this, we recommended fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of fantasy mangas that I feel like the main characters really embody what a Leo is about, and I think Leos would really enjoy that. So for our examples, we have Blue Exorcist. You have that, yeah. Blue Exorcist,
Ooh.
Jujutsu Kaisen,
Ooh.
and Witch Hat Atelier. I really don't know.
I think it's Witch Hat Atelier.
Atelier. Yeah, and then for
we'll
the
have all of this stuff written.
Yeah, for the webtoon we have Morgana and Oz.
It's so cute.
So I guess
we'll get into Blue Exorcist first, or whichever one you knows or you know better. We'll get into Jujutsu Kaisen then.
Yeah, so I'll get into Jujutsu Kaisen. If you've never heard of Jujutsu Kaisen, I post it right there. It's basically about there's these curses and they have to get rid of these curses, and these curses are built up from like negative emotions that people have.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so
like fear, anger, like anything that people are feeling, you're making a curse.
Yes. So. And so one day, the most powerful curse that has been like locked up gets unleashed, and the main character, Itadori, is seeing himself in a situation where a jujutsu student, Megami, comes and tries to like get rid of the curse, but the curse is just way too strong. So then they have Gojo, who's the strongest, basically, come in and try to kill that curse, but they can't do it because it's the strongest curse. But the thing is that the curse is divided up into different fingers, and so to make this curse come alive, and because he's like just in a situation where he doesn't know what to do, the main character, Itadori, eats the finger, therefore becoming part of the curse. And the thing about Jujutsu Kaisen is he is like, it starts with you finding out that he is set to be executed because they want to get rid of this curse.
So so he's basically stuck. Yeah, he's stuck in this situation. Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of put himself in the situation because that's the only thing that he could have done to save Megami and himself.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing, like we have Blue Exorcist. This is actually the first anime I had ever watched. So Blue Exorcist has a special place in my heart. This kid and his brother, twins, they live in a church, and so their adoptive father is a priest. So, but the main kid, his brother's like goody two shoes. It's kind of like a mob situation. You know, mob is just kind of like himself, except he's not a delinquent, and then like his brother's all popular and really smart and all that type of stuff. So the main kid and Rin, the main kid, he is kind of delinquent, just out there, you know, doing his thing, not really caring about school and all that stuff. Then his brother's, you know, goody two shoes. But turns out he's the son of Satan. Well, they both are. But Rin has powers because he's the son of Satan. And situation happens to where now he's attending this magical type school thing. He's, you know, eradicating like curse, like type of curse stuff. Trying to see what this says. He's basically becoming an exorcist. So he works with like the church and everything, but it's kind of weird because, you know, he's the son of Satan. So similar to like Itadori thing, where you're working for the institute that wants to kill you, but since you have like the power to get rid of the evil stuff, since you're part evil, they keep you alive till you're not needed anymore. So it goes through his whole story of him being in this school, him having the consequences of being the son of Satan, even though he didn't, ask to be, his relationship with his brother, all that type of stuff. Yeah, and especially, when we have here, when they're hurting, it shows. You definitely know in Jujutsu Kaisen and Blue Exorcist, when they're hurting, it shows. So
100%.
appetite for growth for both of the main characters. They literally inject their whole being into everything they do, either it being good or bad, or, I couldn't recommend these more. And then when it comes to Witch Hat Atelier, I was meant to read this. I haven't gotten into it yet. I was trying to find, because I think where I had found it, they didn't have all the chapters, so I didn't go ahead and read it. But I've seen a lot about it on TikTok. So it's definitely on my read list. But I'll read the synopsis thing real quick. Also, the art for this one, and I think you can get physical copies of this. I've seen them. So you can definitely get physical copies of all these. But the art is beautiful.
It is.
And there's one character that looks really good. So this is a story about a girl who longs for magic in her life and learns that on the inside, she already is what she wishes she could be. So seems that she wants to be a witch. She didn't know she could be a witch, but she has the power to be one. Let's see. So in a world where everyone takes wonders like magic spells and dragons for granted, Coco is a girl with a simple dream. She wants to be a witch. But everybody knows magicians are born, not made. And Coco was not born with the gift of magic. Resigned to her unmagical life, Coco is about to give up on her dreams to become a witch until the day she meets Quifrey? Qifrey. A mysterious traveling magician. After secretly seeing Quifrey perform magic in a way she's never seen before, Coco learns. Wow. Oh my god. Coco soon learns what everybody knows might not be the truth. So with that, she discovers her magical dreams may not be far away as it seems. So really interesting. Definitely the whole fantasy thing. Seems like she's going to put all her being into wanting to learn magic since she, wants to learn magic. And she seems, just based off of that, she seems like the type of character that, like, if she's, like, upset or if something really sad, tragic happens, like, you're gonna really sympathize with her and feel bad. So. And then to Morgana and Oz. Oh my god. Okay, I did binge this. So it's kind of like a Romeo and Julio Julio. Oh my god. Like literally.
What is going on? Julio?
I don't. It might be, since we're talking about astrology, it might be the supermoon. You know how people go, that's tonight.
Maybe that's why I've been so anxious today.
Literally. She's a witch. Speaking about witches, her family's a witch. The Oz, his people are vampires. They're beefing, right? Okay. So, the witches have been helping humans this whole time, keeping them safe from vampires. Vampires are trying to drink human blood, as they do. But the thing is that humans don't like both of them. So it's kind of weird. But the girl, Morgana, runs into Oz. The vampires think the witches are attacking them. The witches think the vampires are attacking them. Incident happens. She turns him into a cat. Because she's not good at magic.
Like all of these webtoons and cats.
I don't know what it is about cats, but she's not really good with her magic. She's going to be the head of the family, which is not good because she doesn't really know how to control her magic. She turns Oz into a cat, and she doesn't know how to turn him back. And so they're on their little adventure. There's a whole misunderstanding between the two groups where they think, you have this person, then they kidnap someone else, that whole type of thing. It's a whole, like, clash between these clans. And so it's them working together to fix the situation and to mend the broken relationship that they have. There's a little bit of romance, They're crushing on each other. Obviously, if you're hanging around with each other all the time, right? But It's got the fantasy, obviously, because witches and vampires, and there's other magical beings as well. So I think there's only like 30 something chapters, so that one that you can definitely catch up on. But I digress. Now we're on to Virgo. For our Virgos out there, obviously you're August 23rd through September 22nd. You guys are perfectionists, okay? Extreme attention to detail, and you're very particular, and there's your head full of thoughts, million ideas per second. So for this, we thought the best one was historical fiction, which examples we have for are Vagabond. I do have the first volume, but I'm lending it to someone, so I don't have it on me. But Vagabond, Noragami, Vinland Saga, and for the webtoon, Return of the Blossoming Blade. And then the honorable mention we have for this one is Yona of the Dawn, but we'll get into that. Basically, Vagabond. A vagabond is like, when you think of samurai, samurais belong to like families and stuff, so they work for people. A vagabond doesn't work for anyone. So when it comes to the perfectionist part, this vagabond dude is like traveling through Japan and it's just like fighting anyone he deems strong because he's trying to prove that he's the strongest in Japan. So beautifully follows this story of this guy's journey through his life of him trying to become the strongest in Japan. This is the more hardcore one, so it's gory, you're killing people in these duels. So when it comes to the other one, Vinland Saga is so good, y'all. Okay. This kid, Thornfinn, lives in his little town with his happy life. His dad's the chief. They go on this little outing. Something happens to his dad. Thorfinn's like, you can get what I'm putting down from that, but Thorfinn's thrown into this whole mess, and he is trying to avenge his father, basically. So, he's growing up away from home, basically following the dude that killed his dad because he's trying to get strong to kill him, and he goes through a lot of like, this dude is killing people left and right because he's just so filled with rage and wanting to get strong to avenge his father. I mean, he kind of loses himself along the way, and he goes through a lot of hardships and his relationships with people and all that type of stuff. But I don't want to get too much into it because I really just want people to either watch it or read it because it's really beautiful, especially when you get to what second season's going to be, because he's, thrown to another loop. And I call that the agriculture arc, but it shows more of his progression as a person.
Okay.
In a lighter side of thing. Not killing people, but him, just total 180 of his character. And it's just really interesting to see how he went from, the beginning to where he is now. But Noragami, I know you are excited to talk about Noragami, and I'm excited to talk about it too. So let's get into it.
Noragami. If you listened to the last episode, you know that Noragami is one of my favorite series of all time, the manga and the anime. I adore them. If you don't know what Noragami is about, Yato, this guy right here, is a homeless god. He does not have a shrine. So, but I don't want to get too into it because this is a big part of the story, but he is a type of god that he doesn't like. So, because he doesn't fulfill the role of the god that he is, he tries to gain funds by doing little jobs, whether that's like cleaning houses, helping kids bullies, like not helping kids be bullied, but like helping the kid that is being bullied out. He takes all kinds of jobs, finding lost kittens, and basically it follows his story of trying to become a not forgotten god. So that's basically it. If I talk any more about it, I'll go into like spoilers of it, and I want just people to read it. I actually started watching the anime first and then got into the manga. The anime is only 24 episodes, I believe, so you could definitely catch up on it. I binged it in like 2 days. And then pick up the manga. I don't want to get too into it because, again, I don't want to spoil anything because I will spoil the whole story. But the manga's crazy. I love collecting it. Each cover is a different color, so I think it looks really cool on shelves. Yeah, Noragami, a Stray God. One of my favorite series of all time. Highly recommend, especially for Virgos.
when it comes to the webtoon, which is Return of the Blossoming Blade, this is quite interesting. Okay, so the main character is like at the beginning an adult, but he like died, and then kind of spoiler, but he dies, and then he's somehow like awakens 100 years later as a kid, and he's like, what the heck? So he this is like cultivation and the demonic cult and like all that type of stuff for like people with powers. So he awakens. He was super strong when he died, so he was super powerful. And then as a kid, 100 something years later, he's like, what the heck? So he figures out everything that had happened to his like clan, and basically is on the journey of like rebuilding his community and the clan back to like its successful glory that it was before he died. But it's also very funny because he's like he knows way more information than a bunch of the people, like the older adults around him, but he's just not at that power like cultivation level yet. So he's like he gets really frustrated and he wants to be to where he was prior to him being a kid 100 something years later. So um yeah, when it's very funny. It's a very interesting read too, and I like the art style of it too. So, if you're into the more like cultivation, um, isekai type world, then I think this is something that you would enjoy. So,
Next,
there you go.
we have Libra, which is my rising sign. So Libras are September 23rd to October 22nd. Qualities we have are their oh my gosh, I can't speak English today either.
Right, right.
Simultaneously extroverted and introverted, strategic yet spontaneous, focused and intuitive, and they value empathy. So for this, the genre is kind of weird. We go with literary fiction, but that where we're going with literary fiction is the more genuine characters in a very fictional world.
Yeah. So when it comes to like this genre, when we were thinking about mangas and webtoons to suggest, it's very the characters and the way they act themselves are very relatable to real world people, but the world that they're in is not relatable. Obviously, because what we have written down is Demon Slayer and My Hero and Wotakoi Love. Well, that one's more realistic. The
Watakoi is the
Love is
one that
Hard,
is more on the realistic world.
and
Obviously,
so is Marry Me.
um,
But obviously, for honorable mention, Bleach also not realistic. But the way that characters carry themselves in the three shonen ones that we have here, that is more
realistic.
relatable.
So we've already gone over My Hero Academia, but I definitely would recommend it again for Libras. For Demon Slayer, I mean, who doesn't know about Demon Slayer? But if you have not heard about Demon Slayer is basically about Tanjiro and his sister, and Tanjiro, the main character. Basically, this isn't a spoiler. This just straight up what happens. His whole family dies, besides his sister. And basically they were attacked by a demon. They live in a society in Japan where demons run around and kill people. Like they eat people. People are the demon's food. And basically Nezuko survives and becomes a demon. And a demon slayer, there's this whole organization called the Demon Slayer Corps that its whole purpose is to take down the demons. And so Andro basically becomes a demon slayer, and the whole thing is them trying to take down the main demon guy to get rid of all of the demons, and also to have Nezuko, his sister, come back to being a human. So that is what Demon Slayer is about. Tanjiro is just such a genuine character that I feel like Libras would really, really enjoy just his character alone. The Koi, Love is Hard for an Otaku. Do you have the cover? I know I lent it to you. Yes. This is one of my favorite manga series of all time. This one's a very like realistic world because they work in an office, obviously, but very relatable. Basically they're all otakus and they're just showing how love is hard for an otaku. That's literally the title is exactly what
when it comes to this story, the whole relationship of these people is very realistic. So it's kind of like if you're reading it, you're kind of like, oh man, that would be so nice if I had something like that. Or
Oh,
they're like, oh,
where's mine?
me and my partner, yeah, me and my partner, like we do this too. Like this is so relatable. It's just a really relatable, like realistic
Mhm.
romance between the people, like the two couples. Well, there's three, but in like the three couples in the story. So it's one that I think anyone could enjoy reading. But when it comes to the webtoon Marry Me, this is also really realistic when it comes to relationships, just not how it's not realistic in how they get into a relationship. So basically, this is set in Japan, and this office worker, if you're not married or something in a relationship by a certain date, there's this program in Japan that sets you up with someone and you get married. So
Okay.
he marries this like shut-in girl. She's really pretty though. She's just like she's so shy and anxious about like real world stuff that she just like shuts herself in and just like hangs out with her cat. So the yeah, but she's so nice. She's a really nice person, and it's like it shows their whole relationship of well them their story of like becoming a couple and him helping her break out of her shell and then her teaching him to be like more sympathetic and more of a person.
Hmm.
It's really cute to see the whole character development, like them help each other out, either them meeting to or just like them being around each other and just changing how they act. But super cute. Highly recommend. And it's real. So this is October 23rd through November 21st. You guys are very difficult to get to know. Um, psychological trapdoors. So like I feel like you guys put people to the test really if you're trying to allow them in your life, but and you guys socialize from a double-sided mirror. So guys are kind of weird. But like
A good
I
way.
feel like that's just a way in a good way to protect yourself. But it can kind of be a double-edged sword. So that way it leads us to going with the genre of mystery because Scorpio man. So examples: Erased, Future Diary, and Summertime Render. And then the webcomic that we have mentioned is Purple. I think it's pronounced Hyacinth. Who knows? You'll see it when we write all these down in the description. But since you had just watched Erased and it basically follows a manga, I think you should talk about it.
So, Erased is basically there's this guy and he has the ability to go back in time and rewrite or attempt to rewrite the future. So, there was a lot of killings that happened when he was young. And basically, what happens is he has there's a killing close to him that happens, as in, I don't think this is a spoiler. This happens in the first episode. But his mom is killed by a serial killer and he is framed for the murder. And so he basically has this moment where, there's panic and everything, and he goes back in time to his younger self and is trying to stop the killings that happened from the same killer back when he was younger. And so it stops his mom from dying in the future, too. So that is what Erase follows. It's a mystery. You don't know who the killer is. It's super, super interesting concept. A really great story that I definitely recommend people getting into. Do be warned, if you are a scaredy cat like me, might be a little hard to watch, but it's a really good story.
Yeah, if you like true crime stuff, I think you would really like Erased.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
when it comes to Future Diary is a very weird and mysterious and gory in a good way. So, main character dude, he's in middle school. He's a loner, doesn't really talk to people. He writes a diary, like his diary on his cell phone. And he has like imaginary friends that he calls I don't even know how to pronounce this, but like his imaginary friends, the god of time and space, and the dude's servant. So he's like writing to the stuff to these people in this thing,
Mm-hmm.
telling them about his day. And then one day he wakes up and his, as in Future Diary, the diary on his phone is like writing out what his day is going to be like. But it's it's good for him to see if something bad were to happen, because you know stuff's happening now in the story, but like he can see if good stuff's gonna happen to him or bad stuff. And so um other people in the story have the future diary stuff too, and they're all like pursuing each other and like trying to kill each other. It's really weird. Uh but this is one that Dana really likes.
Bringing the dog in.
Oh my god. Sneak air. Okay, so this detective girl, she has the ability to detect lies. So that makes her a good detective. But despite being haunted by her inability to save the one she loves, um from a gruesome fate that happened many years ago, which leaves her in, you know, she's traumatized, stuff like that. Now she uses her powerful gift to defend the defenseless at any cost, even if it means teaming up with a deadly assassin to fight evil in a world gone mad. Yeah, it's like a lovers to enemies type thing. But he's, you know, she's the detective. He's the assassin. She's had trauma. He has trauma too. She can detect lies. Is he lying to her? It's like that whole type of thing where it's like back and forth and very mysterious, but like you also are seeing if the assassin dude, obviously he's killing people. Not good, right?
Yeah.
But he's doing it. Is he doing it for good reasons or is he doing it for bad reasons? We don't know.
Do we know?
So that's what makes it good. And when it comes to summertime, we're doing this, what? Manga, right? So since the death of his parents, the main dude has lived with this family, like a childhood friend family that has two daughters. And he leaves the island one day because he's going to school somewhere else. He returns for a funeral for one of the girls that he's grown up with. She had mysteriously died. But during the funeral, his best friend informs him about bruises found on the girl's neck, casting doubt over the cause of her death. So, suspecting a murder has taken place, the dude reevaluates the recent events that had occurred on the island, but strange incidents only continued to transpire. So, like, weird stuff's going down. So, but disappearing people and other unexplained occurrences leads him to recall an old folk tale referring to entities called shadows, which may not be entirely fantasy. So supposedly an encounter with one of the shadows foretells the person's impending demise. So if you meet a shadow thing, it's basically going to tell you like how you're going to die. So facing the dark side of the island, the main dude stands against grim fate to fulfill his friend's final wish, which is to protect Mio, which is the other sister. Isn't that crazy?
I also just looked it up. Summertime, the anime at least, is not available yet in the US. No. So
It's on other.
No, it's not available in the US yet. It's on Disney Plus, but it's not available in the US yet.
That says booty, straight booty, because I was really interested in checking it out.
But that sounds
Damn.
really interesting. All right, moving on to Emily's sign, Sagittarius. So that is November 22nd to December 21st. So qualities, let's call Emily out here. Choose principles over feelings, will often question who they are, reckless in the pursuit of what they want, and they have no inside voice, which
is so true.
So the genre we picked for Sagittarius is comedy, but comedy in a different way. Some of these suggestions we have, it's not necessarily comedy like it is a comedy, but it just has qualities of it that are really funny that would make it a comedy. So for examples, we have Haikyuu.
This is my favorite, by the way.
Yes, we have Spy Family and Black Clover.
Which I'm collecting all of them. So as you can see, this is meant for me.
And then as the webtoon recommendation, we have Happily Ever Afterwards. So I'll talk about...
And what's the honorable mention?
Oh, she got up. The honorable mention is Welcome to the Ballroom.
Check it out.
So
Check it out.
I'll talk about Haikyuu and Spy Family. So if you don't know what Haikyuu is, it is a sports story, and it follows the main character called Hinata. Hinata, and he basically thinks he's really good at volleyball, but he's actually not. And basically follows like his journey and the whole team's journey onto trying to make it to nationals. That is what Haikyuu is about. And Spy Family, if you don't know what Spy Family is about a spy who has to make a fake family to complete his mission and to save world peace, save two countries from going to war to each other. So both of those mangas and animes are just really funny. They're not inherently a comedy, but they have very funny factors to them that would put it in a comedy sector. So those are Haikyuu and Spy Family, and we want to talk about Black Clover.
Basically, he's a young boy. He dreams of becoming the greatest mage. He wants to become the Wizard King. Only one problem: he doesn't have any magic. So, luckily for that, he receives a rare 5-leaf clover that's important to the story, where gives him the power of anti-magic. So, can someone who can't use magic become the Wizard King? You can see through his journey. Oh my God, Capricorns. Most of my favorite anime characters are Capricorns. So this is good. So December 22nd to January 19th. You guys are not consumed by the need for attention and you're constantly competing with yourselves. Praise is a simple acknowledgement for a job well done. So you guys are like really realistic. So that's why the whole genre that we picked for you guys is realistic. So My Dress Up Darling, Dance Dance Dancer, Barakamon, and Windbreaker as the webtoon rec. Emily, I'm going to leave the My Dress Up Darling and Dance Dance to you.
All right. So My Dress Up Darling, there is an anime adaptation if you want to watch it and then catch up to the manga. That's what I did. I'm caught up to the manga. It's so good. The last chapter left me like, anyway, but My Dress Up Darling, it's about this girl in the sky, and she basically loves cosplaying, which me too. She loves cosplaying and she wants to, but she's really bad at sewing and like making these own cosplays. So she meets Gojo, who's in her class, and they become friends because he can sew, because his whole thing is to like dress up dolls, like the traditional Japanese dolls. Like he works in that, like that's his whole family business. And so the whole series is him and like their journey together on making these. So basically, My Dress Up Darling, it's their whole journey about making cosplays together, and they're both in love. That's like the whole thing. There's romance in it. It's so cute. So that is My Dress Up Darling. And then with Dance Dance Dancer, he is he wants to be a ballet dancer, but he's really bad at ballet. Like he just started, but he thinks he's so good. Like that is the one thing that is different. He like loves praise, but he doesn't really get it because he's not a very good dancer until like recently. So that's really good, and it has an anime adaptation. And you can catch up to the manga really quickly. There's only like 10 chapters. I caught up to the manga, so come in.
Barackman, we called this one Barack Obama. But so this calligrapher, he is kind of he doesn't think he's going through a slump, but other people in the field think he is, and they're not really excited about his calligraphy. And so one day someone says that to him, really important in the calligraphy community, and he punches them. So at an event publicly. So he goes on a little journey to this like remote type island somewhere in Japan, where not a lot of people are, because he's trying to like refine himself in his calligraphy and like, I guess, try to figure out what why he's doing what he's doing in his art. And so this is where he meets the people on the island, and they help him become basically a better person and help him find, just like by hanging out and just experiencing day-to-day life on this island with like all different types of people. And his best friend's like a 5-year-old. It's not weird, okay? No. She breaks him out of his shell. It's like a brother sister type situation. Mm-hmm. And they basically just help each other grow as people, and it's really cute. And then for the webtoon, I have Windbreaker. This is also kind of following a sports thing. This is about like competitive bike racing, but like street bike racing. So Jay, the main character, he's like this perfect student. He, straight A's, like crazy good at studying and all that stuff. Doesn't really break out of his shell. He finds himself joining this like street bike racing competition with a bunch of other people he meets, and they like make a group and form a group, and they're competing with a bunch of other people. and he discovers a whole new world outside of studying and goes through all these adventures, goes through all these relationships with new friends. There's a little bit of romance in it. There's drama. Pretty good. Windbreaker on Webtoon. That is Capricorn, realistic. Now we're on to Aquarius. Oh my God. Aquarius, January 20th
to February
through February 18th.
So the qualities of Aquarius is we are weird AF. We're so weird. In a good way though. Thrive in large groups, charming with their particular sense of humor, and an entire universe exists in their heads. In Aquarius, I can say all of these things are very true. Who is my best friend for God knows how many years could probably also say that all these traits are very true for me. So the genre that we recommended for it, it's kind of metafiction, but more isekai.
It's like a isekai metafiction, like time traveling type situation.
So the examples we have are, I don't have this physical volume just because I haven't bought it yet, but I am going to collect it. But Inuyasha, The Reign of Teardrops and Serenade, The Boy and the Beast, and then Tricked into Becoming the Heroine's Stepmother is the webtoon recommendation. So I'll talk about Inuyasha and The Reign of Teardrops and Serenade. So Inuyasha, you guys know, if you listened to the last week's episode, Inuyasha is my favorite series of all time. Hard stop. Favorite series of all time. So I had to include it in here. If you don't know what Inuyasha is about, it's basically about a half demon dog named Inuyasha, and there is this jewel that can grant anyone's wishes, and basically it starts off with him trying to grab this jewel, and he gets sealed into a tree for 50 years. Fast forward 500 years later, the person who puts him under the spell of the tree is reincarnated into the main female character, Kagome. Basically, one day she falls down into the well, and the jewel that grants people wishes is inside of her. Like, she was reincarnated with the jewel inside of her. So she comes into feudal Japan, and there she gets Inuyasha out of the spell that he has been under, and she breaks the jewel. And so their whole thing is trying to get this jewel back together and stop bad demons from grabbing this jewel. And that is what their whole journey is about. There is fantasy, romance. She is basically traveling back and forth from the modern era Japan to the feudal era. So we have that. Favorite series of all time. Could not recommend it enough. Then we have The Reign of Teardrops and Serenade, which I actually did not know about until Sunday when Emily, when we were writing about these, and she was like, you should read this. I read it. It's basically about this girl who goes back in time with a necklace and back to early 1900s Japan, and she's basically trying to find her way back home. That's essentially what it is. And there's, again, romance.
Boy and the Beast. So basically this young orphan kid from Shibuya is picked up. He stumbles upon this fantasy world. So kind of like a parallel world to Japan where beasts and mythical creatures and everything live and have their own type of world. And so he stumbles in there and he meets this beast that's looking for an apprentice. And this is a story of him growing up in this beast world, and then him kind of traveling back to the human world and the whole shebang of him dealing with people. And then, The Boy and the Beast, it's got action, it's got adventure in it. He's on some mission type thing. But I don't want to get too much into it because there's also a movie. The movie's really good. I highly recommend people checking that out to watch if you're looking for anime movies. So, Aquarius. Oh, wait, no. Forgot the webtoon. Oh my god. So, Tricked into Becoming the Heroine's Mom. The girl dies. Shocker. Gets the whole isekai type thing, Trunk-kun or whatever. She gets hit by a car, I'm pretty sure. So, she's reincarnated into this girl named, no, her name's Daisy. Okay, she gets reincarnated into this story that she had read. The whole shebang, right? So, it's called a tragedy novel, but it's kind of funny because she had wrote this story with a bunch of other people. So all of her friends in her previous life wrote a character that it falls in love with the main girl in the story. But the thing is that the main girl in the story at the time that the main little girl in the fake story, that the time that the Daisy girl had died and got put into this story, the little girl, she's little. She's not the main girl. And this is going really bad. Anyways, she's basically working at the Duke's mansion and raising the girl that she wrote about. But the thing is that the little girl is like, oh my God, you and my uncle? Like, you guys should get together. So this little girl scheming. The main little girl scheming to put them together. Right? And the thing is that the Duke, obviously cold shoulder. That's the whole thing about like these webtoons, right? Cold shoulder. But then he's like, you know, kind of interested in her. And she's kind of like clueless. And Daisy, or the little girl, she's like, I'm gonna make this happen. But the thing is, the reason why the Duke hired the lady is because she wrote the story and she told him that she wrote the story. So he doesn't want the little girl to end up with these people, with all the people that are going to be like trying to get with her later in the future. So they're like going around and meeting people and like cutting them out of her life. It's so funny. Check it out. And now we're on to our last one, which is Pisces. Oh my God. Okay. February 19th. I feel like I'm running a marathon.
I know. It's been like, oh.
February 19th through March 20th. Oh my God. Your qualities, Pisces people. Somehow both between 5 and 50 at the same time. You're like old and young. I don't know how that works. You just relate to a lot of people. You tend to evade distinction. Don't know where we're really going with that. Take that as however you want. And behavior changes significantly based on who they are around. So we said historical fantasy because we can. Examples: Snow White with red hair, the heroic legend of Arslan in Yona of the Dawn. And then the webtoon recommendation is My In-Laws Are Obsessed with Me. In-laws are obsessed with me. So this girl, was not really a girl. She's like a young woman. She's a countess, or she's a daughter of a count. Her dad dies. She's stuck with her stepfamily. Her stepmom, and her stepsister are like evil. Basically, corrupt. They take her money. And you know, trying to kick her out because, you know, her dad's not around anymore, right? So, and she also was left with her dad's fortune because obviously she's blood related to him. But webtoon says, they conspire with her lover. The stepmom and stepsister conspire with the lady's lover to kill her to get the fortune, right? So, but however, under mysterious circumstances, she was killed. She's brought back to life, and she's like she travels back in time, so she knows, she's conscious that these people are trying to kill her. So she ends up looking for help, right? So what are you gonna do as a woman, a single woman back then? You're gonna marry someone up in society. She marries this duke, but the duke's family has the secret curse that she doesn't know about, where their blood, if somehow you touch it or consume it, it's like poison. It'll kill you. She accidentally gets the blood in her system and she dies, but she comes back. And the Duke's like shocked. So keeps her. And then she's like, we need to marry each other. And he's like, we need to marry you because like, what the heck? And it's their whole thing of him trying to use her to figure out why the curse didn't kill her because he wants to get rid of the curse. And then her staying with him to remain safe from her family that's trying to kill her for her fortune. Crazy. So much stuff going on. But Yona of the Dawn, that is another crazy interesting one. Basically, this princess of this kingdom, she's very naive, total airhead, not really worrying about anything because, you know, she's the king's daughter. She doesn't have to worry about that stuff. She's very pampered. Well, one day her cousin overthrows the kingdom, but she's like a reincarnated version of the first king that had like a special connection with these 4 dragons that can turn into people, and they have specific powers. So she's like traveling around, and she's like bumping into each reincarnated dragon, and they're forming a group, and they're going around, and she wants to take revenge, and she gets like super strong. It's really good. I love it. Snow White with the red hair. She is like Snow White. She has red hair. So, she is this girl that is very knowledgeable of like medicine and stuff like that, and she somehow gets in contact with the prince of that kingdom. It's like a romance, but also it's about just these people becoming better versions of themselves. The heroic legend of Arslan. Okay, this one's kind of similar. So, Aviana the Dawn, a prince of his kingdom. There's a coup. The whole kingdom is replaced by a different government thing. He assembles the Arslan, the overthrown prince. He assembles an army to take back his kingdom that was invaded. And it's just this whole journey with him and like his people and them trying to take back his kingdom.
And that is
Oh my god.
it. Okay. Well, that was 12 zodiac signs with 3 recommendations each. I think we did a pretty good job.
Never again. This is all you're getting from zodiac stuff. Drunken Emily was a good idea, okay? I hate you for this. I feel like we were talking forever. Oh my god. I hope people appreciate this. Was it a good explanation for all this stuff? I don't know. But these are really good manga and webtoons that you should check out, start collecting, like whatever you want to do it, read it. Please. We just talked so much.
Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Join our Discord. Follow us on TikTok at Are We Nerds Podcast, and follow us on our personals if you want. I don't know. This has been Emily and Emily, and next week we have a very special episode. It is One Piece Day, so we're going to do a One Piece episode. So stay tuned. We're tired of talking, so we're going to end the podcast now, and
I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a good day. Stay hydrated. Stay safe. Bye.